Hey y'all, hey. So, what's up out there to all of my fellow gold diggers? This is your girl Rita, also known as the self proclaimed gold digger. If this is your first time to my channel, then welcome. I am so glad to have you. But if you are a fellow gold digger, welcome back because I love and I appreciate each and every one of you. And tonight it is time for Tipsy Tuesday, and this is the graduation edition since this is graduation season. All right, I'm going to be giving some advice to our recent grads. Before we get into it, y'all know I always have to check my social media channels to make sure we are good on all fronts. I hope y'all have been having a wonderful week. I hope you had um, a good holiday weekend as well. So let's see. Let me make sure really quick. And as y'all can see, my setup is a little bit different today, just because I had to change recording studios. But let's see. Let me make sure we are good there. All right, so it looks like we are good there. And let me check one other spot, and then we are going to get started. Also, I have a question for you guys, and I'm going to put it in the chat. I want to know, what is some of the best advice that you've gotten um, after graduation, or some worst advice that you've gotten? What is the best advice that you've gotten, as well as what is the worst advice that you have gotten? All right, so let me put that in the chat really, really quickly. After. All right. So I got a lot of tips. The tips that I'm going to be sharing, they are going to be for not just college graduates, but they're also going to be for high school graduates. We're going to start off with the high school graduates, and the tips for high school graduates will also apply for the college graduates. And guess what? Since a lot of high school graduates are going to be entering college, those college graduates, the tips for the college graduates will also apply for the high school ones too. Okay, so it is going to be beneficial for everybody. And if you've already graduated and you've been in the work field or the workforce for a while, these tips will also help you as well. But also feel free to share any tips that you have regarding graduation. All right, so of course, congratulations to all of the graduates out there. I hope you guys are proud of yourselves. My daughter is going to be graduating on tomorrow. So I am so excited. This will be her high school graduation. But before y'all start feeling yourselves and being a little too grown, whether you're a high school graduate, college graduate, or anything, I am going to be sharing some advice with you guys to kind of help you. And I have a quote for this evening that I want to start off with. And this is actually what prompted me to even have this discussion. So, this quote is from Carter G. Woodson. And if you don't already know, Carter G. Woodson is the father of Black History Month, which originally started as Negro History Week. Y'all know I love celebrating Black history. But Carter G. Woodson says, if you control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his action. Yes. So I'm going to say it again. If you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his actions. Y'all, in the way that higher education, DEI, the culture is under attack, it is definitely giving let's keep the people distracted, let's keep them disoriented with all the different things that are going on. They're banning Black books, they're taking away college funding, and they are they're just trying to roll back programs that will definitely benefit minorities as well. So some of this advice is so you can stay woke and stay on top of stuff, and don't ever underestimate the power of getting an education. So many people would not be trying to come for it. So many people would not try to have it under attack if it wasn't important. And just know they're trying to control your thinking, because if they can control your thinking, they can control your actions. So please, please, please remember that. All right. So we want to make sure that you can secure the bag, but we also want to make sure that you are free thinkers going after your goals as well. And I'm going to go ahead and put that quote on in the chat. So Carter G. Woodson, it is so powerful and so apropos for what is going on today. If you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his action. So please don't let them control your thinking. Please don't. And that's why I'm a big advocate for always being a lifelong learner, and don't think that you are just getting education through the school system. You have to make sure you're educating yourself outside of the school system as well, whether it's the public school system, whether it's the higher ed school system, because you have to stay abreast on the things that are going on, the things that are going on now in your schools as well as in your community and stuff, because please, 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 they are trying so hard to control our thinking. But let's go ahead and get into these tips. Oh, yes. And y'all, if you are new to Tipsy Tuesday, if you have not already guessed, basically what we do is we take some sips, and I'm just sipping on some tea tonight. We take some sips as I share some tips. So what you drink on, that is your own business. All right. So let's go ahead and kick it off. So the first part that we have, this is for high school graduates. All right. Your glow up starts here. It starts right now. So, of course, I always like to come with you with some facts and some statistics and stuff. That's why, because I like to stay educated. I like to see what's going on. So let me drop you a few quick little facts. So here's the tea about high school graduation. High school graduation numbers are about to peak in 2025. So this will be one of the highest with 3.9 million grads. But then after that, the numbers go downhill, and there will be fewer grads every year throughout until 2041, especially in places like California and New York. But on the other hand, places in the South, like, so shout out to Georgia, shout out to South Carolina, those numbers are holding steady when it comes to high school graduations. And big ups to the minorities and in the Hispanic and multiracial groups, they are leading the growth. So get your education. Get your education, because they are coming for it. Get your education. So that I'm pleased to see that in Hispanic and multiracial groups, they are leading the growth when it comes to the high school graduation. And that's why access to education and opportunities, they matter so much more now than ever. Okay. Get your education. They are coming for it. Like Carter G. Woodson said, and Carter G. Woodson was around, long time ago. If they can control your thinking, they will control your actions. So make sure you are educating yourself. But let's go ahead and get into these tips for our high school graduates. All right. So please know, I want to share with the high school graduates out there is that college is not for everybody. Y'all have heard me say this on my channel. I have even said I don't care if my kids don't go to college. Now, I do care that they get an education, but I would say college ain't for everybody, but you definitely need to have a plan. So if my kids did not go to college, they better have a plan in place, all right? Because I already know college is not for everybody, all right? So if you're not going to college, don't feel bad, because that is cool, but make sure you're not just chilling on the couch at your mama's house. Make sure you have a plan for what you want to do next in your life, and look into trades. The trades, they are not going away. And that is, I think so many people are bent on having a 4-year education or a 4-year degree that we're skipping over these trades where you can gain valuable skills. Okay. So that's like a plumber, electrician, also doing construction work, HVAC, all that kind of stuff. Anything in your house, automotive technician, those are skilled trades that you can look into, and they are services that are going to be needed, and people are going to thrive and survive. And when you have those skills, you're going to be highly sought after. So look into trades, look into certifications, look into the military. That is another great option, although I don't know how things are right now, but look into the military. You can look into entrepreneurship, anything or something that is going to build your skill set while you're building your bag. All right. So you want to make sure you are acquiring skills that you can use. All right. And then there's also coding boot camps that is becoming big. Although I know AI is starting to take over, but there is still a place like cybersecurity that is really, really big in our area. So look into coding boot camps, cosmetology school, that is going to be big. Nail technicians, look at all the people who get their nails done, get their hair done. So look into these trades because these are skills that you can definitely use. All right. And even though college is not for everybody, success comes in many forms. All right. So explore the options, see what's available to you so that you can have a plan for your future. All right. Now, oftentimes there's a quote, we don't plan to fail, we just fail to plan. So if for some reason you don't have a plan, that is a setup for failure. So make sure you have a plan in place for what you want to do once you graduate from high school, whether it's going to the military, picking up a trade, starting your own business, whatever it is, just have a plan. All right. And make sure you have created your plan with some vision, and don't go into debt or go into a lot of debt. All right. Just trying to please people. So if you know college is not for you, don't necessarily go in college and accumulate all this debt because people are pressuring you to go to college. Pursue your purpose. Okay. Go after your purpose. Don't worry about, making people happy because they're not going to be the ones helping you pay for your debt or helping you pay for school unless they are. Don't feel pressure to go. And I know some people say you need to go to college so you can get life experience. Trust me, just keep living. You're gonna get plenty of life experience without accumulating debt from college if you already know that college is not for you. Okay. Now, the second tip I have for high school graduates is that you need to value relationships even more than you value your resume. Relationships trump resumes every time. I have this saying, I playfully or not so playfully say, how they say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And that is so, so true. And I always say it's not what I know, it's who I know. And as long as I know God, I'm good, which has been the case. But it really is not what you know, it is who you know. I have seen it firsthand. There are people who are working in my industry who come from being the cashier at the local convenience store, and now they are being trained in high level stuff because of they the niece or nephew or somebody who works at this particular office and they got the job. So please, please, please know it's not what you know, it's who you know. And don't feel bad. Some people just have more connections or different connections than you have. So that's why you need to make sure that you are building relationships. Build relationships with like your professors, your counselors, your high school teachers, anyone who could possibly write you a letter of recommendation, your church family. All of those people can help you out when an opportunity is available or give you a hookup when it comes to a job. All right. So be on the lookout for that. Remember, relationships over resumes, because that is how a lot of us get in the door. And if you do get an opportunity or you do get a job, please, please, please do not burn bridges. All right. Always try to leave on a good note, no matter what the situation is or no matter what the circumstances is, as long as it's not, nothing illegal or whatever that was done to you or something like that. But don't burn bridges, because you never know when you might have to cross back over that bridge, or when you might need that person's help, or who that person knows who can potentially help you. So you want to leave with a good impression for them to remember you well. The second tip when it comes to relationships over your resume, remember that mentors matter. Okay. So try to find mentors, people. And you say, I don't know how to find a mentor. if someone is encouraging you, if someone is giving you advice on a regular basis, if an older person at your church or at your school or just in your community is always offering you advice, or when you see them, they have a little tip for you or something like that, see if they mind mentoring you. Start, talking to them on a regular basis. If you look around, you will find that there are people who do not mind mentoring you if you know, and be mindful of what you're seeking in terms of a mentorship, whether it's just guidance when it comes to choosing a major or navigating college. Just let them know what you're looking for. But mentorship matters. And also, when it comes to mentorships, you also want to build a strong foundation for if you do decide to go to college. So get study groups, okay? Start having study buddies and different things like that, so you can start thriving in school, because you don't, especially if you're going to college, because you don't want to feel isolated or anything like that. Okay, community is currency. Remember that. Your community is your currency. All right. And then this is something, especially once you get off the school, because y'all think y'all grown, especially when y'all graduated high school, but you're not too grown to ask for help. So please don't be afraid to ask for help. College can really be an eye opener. You might have been a student who did really, really well in high school and thrived in high school, and all of a sudden, all this freedom um, that comes with college, it might be overwhelming and it'll kick your butt or cause you not to be studying or going to class like you're supposed to. It's so many distractions at school. But don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. All right. You got to be able to recognize that and lean on people to get you the help that you need. Okay. And also, when it comes to relationships, if you've asked somebody for help or you asked somebody to be your mentor and you haven't heard anything, don't be afraid to follow up and do it in a nice way. Be like, hey, I know you might be busy, but are you able to help me in such and such area? That kind of thing. So don't be afraid to follow up. Don't be timid, because closed mouths don't get fed. All right. And you just never know what that opportunity might lead into. It could be an internship, a job opportunity or whatever. So start building your connections, start asking questions, start asking for help, and follow up with people. Okay. And if you don't believe me, when it comes to relationships, your community is your currency. Ask your mama, ask your cousin, ask your auntie and them, how did they get their job? Ask them how, in the position that they're in, how did they get that particular job? Chances are they got it because they knew somebody. Now, that's not to say that they're not talented. That's not to say that they didn't have the skills, but they probably found out about the job because so and so told them about it, or so and so shared this with them, or so and so mentioned this opportunity that they thought they would be great for, or so and so mentioned their name in rooms that they never even entered into, and now they have the opportunity and now they got the job. Okay? So your community is currency. You'll be really, really surprised how many people get their jobs, their careers started just from that alone. Okay. So community is your currency. All right. All right. The next thing I have for our high school graduates is you need to secure the bag. What do I mean by that? Excuse me. Secure the bag. That's with your scholarships, that's with your work study, and that's with your internships. Excuse me. Let me take a sip, y'all, because now I'm getting choked up. So don't sleep on this money, all right? So be sure to secure the bag. Secure the bag and apply for as many scholarships as possible. All the money possible, period. Even if it's just a $500 scholarship, that can help you pay for books. All right. And especially if you can't come up with $500 yourself, don't ever look down on a scholarship just because it's too low of an amount. Excuse me. Also, please consider internships. All right. So internships, one, gives you exposure and it also gives you experience. All right. Even if it's not in your field, do an internship, especially if those skills can transfer. Like some of the skills, it might be like project management, where you're like working with the team and y'all are overseeing a big project. having those skills of working together with a large group, having those skills of planning out stuff, having those skills of being in charge of a certain section or a certain part of the project, those things can transfer. Or you might be the one that's in charge of doing like the marketing for it, or getting or creating the different flyers and the different templates and things of that nature. Whatever it is, if the skills are transferable, consider doing an internship, even if it's not in your field, or consider doing an internship if it's with a very well-known company that carries a lot of weight. So let's say, maybe you've never been, I don't know, what's a company? Maybe you're not interested in being like in IT, but there's a internship available for you to work at Apple. Apple carries a lot of weight. So the fact that they see that you did an internship at Apple, then that is going to be something that is going to be looked at favorably on your resume when it comes later to you applying for jobs or positions, or even trying to get other internship opportunities as well. So look at internships, even if it's not in your field. You may be surprised if it can help you gain knowledge, gain skills that are transferable, or if it can help you gain some clout because you are working with a well-established company or well-known company. All right. And also, I'm not as big on this, but sometimes consider unpaid internships. Now, y'all know I'm all about that bag. I'm all about you getting the money. But sometimes, if it's right, consider an unpaid internship. The only way, I won't say the only way. How you would determine that is if you know that the skills that you are going to get are going to be dynamic and you are not going to obtain them anywhere else, or this company is just so well known, so sought after, that having this on your resume is definitely going to be a resume booster for you, or it could possibly be a gateway for you to take a next step or get into a career or get into a specific job or something like that. If it's something like that, then consider an unpaid internship. But usually I'm not a big advocate for it. But let's say you get the opportunity to work in government and you're working in Washington, D.C., like with, I don't know, one of the big government agencies, and they say it's unpaid, I probably would jump on that. All right. Because the skills I'm going to learn, the things that I'm going to see, the opportunities I'm going to have, the people that I'm going to meet. Remember, I talked about community currency. The people I'm going to meet, that trumps me getting paid. Okay. Because here's the other thing. I don't have this as a tip, but I have shared with y'all before. Anything you do, you need to do for multiple reasons. So if you're doing an internship, you're not just doing it because it's in your field and you're getting some money. You better leverage the heck out of that. You better parlay it into something else, into some other opportunities. So I always say I never do anything for one solo reason. It's going to have multiple reasons for why I do or choose to go in a certain route. And that's what you have to start looking at too. And you have to start looking at everything like that. Like even with you going to college or you going to school, you're looking at it, hey, I need to obtain a degree. But all these points I'm listing here is how you parlay it into something even greater and something even more than just obtaining a degree. All right. You're building lifelong relationships. You're establishing skills that are going to be beneficial to you for years and years to come. All right. So leverage is key. Leverage is key. And also consider doing work study, because that'll help you get income. And it also helps you get inside access to like an apartment. So then you can get buddy. I ain't gonna say buddy because we ain't kissing up. I ain't telling you to kiss up or nothing like that. But you can make connections with people who are big in the department. So when you need that recommendation for that internship or something like that, you already have the connects. They see you how you work. They see your work ethic. They see how you take pride in your work. All right. Everything you do is on display. So make sure you're doing it to the best of your abilities and leveraging the heck out of it. All right. So yeah, work study, it gives you access to different departments, different networks. So you have networking opportunity and it keeps you on campus and keeps you out of trouble. Now, I always say, get a work study job where you don't necessarily have to work. Now what I mean by that is like find a job at the library, find a job at like the front desk of, I don't know, checking in at the sports complex or something like that. Find something easy where you can actually study on the job and not be distracted, or something that is going to help offset tuition. When I was in school, I was a resident assistant, so that helped pay for my housing. So, like I said, I don't do anything for one reason. It helped pay for my housing, helped me build relationships. It got me, just like they're saying, got me into the different departments. These people have written me letters of recommendation and stuff for when I graduated, when I needed to go on to graduate school. So all of these things, leverage the heck out of it. Stop looking at stuff as one dimensional and start looking at things as multi-dimensional too. Oh, what's up, Still Rocks? I see you on. Thank you for joining. Let me see what he has to say. Let me take a sip because y'all, I'm just talking so much. But y'all, I only have two more things for the high school, and then we're going to jump into college, and I only have 3 things for the college. So, Still Rocks, good to see you. He says, a lot of companies do employer tuition assistance as well. A lot of times you can work somewhere 6 months and qualify to use it. Hospital, food chains, retail, and banks. Yes, thank you so much. That is a good tip. So tuition assistance. Tuition assistance help you offset the cost of school, and if you are working. So I told you college is not necessarily for everybody. If you are working, and maybe you're working for one of these various industries, some of them, just like the tuition assistance, it can help you pay for college. They might even help you if you already have your degree. They might help you go back to school and obtain a degree as well. I was talking to one of my patients today, and that is what they are doing in order to get their doctorate degree. So look into that. And even when you're looking at the jobs, thank you, Still Rocks, for mentioning that. Look at what programs, what opportunities they have, tuition assistance, or even loan repayment. If you took out student loans, see what kind of programs they might have to help you out with that as well. All right, tip number 4 for my high school students is you need to make sure you maximize all of your college benefits. Okay, what I mean by that is I need you to get all the freebies that are on campus, connect with all the different resources. All right, so if you need therapy, if you need health checkups, if you need free condoms, all of that stuff, keep yourself safe, contraceptives, you need to take advantage of all of those things. All right, because your tuition dollars are literally paying for it. So take advantage of all the free resources. Okay, if you need counseling, if you need tutoring, all of that stuff, take advantage of it. They are available on the college campus, and they have career centers. So if you need to get your resume cleaned up, if you need to work on your job interview skills, they can help you with that at the Career Center. Those internships I was telling you about, they can put you on at the Career Center, all right? Go to them, have them look over your stuff, all right? Before you be posting stuff on Indeed and get embarrassed because your resume looks like, I don't know, it looks like trash, all right? Give them to get you some tips. Give them to clean it up. Do some mock interviews with them so that you'll be comfortable and you'll come off polished and everything. When you finally sit, take advantage of these resources. They are there, okay? All of these things are free, these free services, and they can help you even with career prep, like seeing what jobs are out there in your field, in your industry, see what companies are looking for graduates. And a lot of these companies, they connect with the schools. So they want to know who is the best of the best. Who can they use in their company? So they're already connected with the schools. So take advantage of it. All right. Also, be sure to get involved, join clubs, join organizations, do service events, plan events, study abroad. If you can, if that's an option, that's something I definitely wish I had done, is to study abroad. But this is where these clubs, these organizations, this is where the connections happen. This is also where conferences happen, where you can travel with people, get to know people, start meeting people from different schools, from different areas, all that stuff. So make sure you're getting involved. And also, as you get involved with these different organizations, oftentimes they are planning events, whether it's parties, community service events, just like a local fundraiser in the community or at the school. All these things, these are like soft skills as well as hard skills that you can be learning and developing, like how to work with a whole bunch of different people, how to organize a group of people and put on an event. So then when you get in your job or when you get somewhere, you can say, oh yes, I have great marketing skills, or I have great project management skills because I was in charge of X, Y, and Z, and we put on this program. We raised this amount of money. So fundraising experience, people are looking at that. People are wanting that. So use it to your advantage. Put it on your resume, but you got to get involved with these clubs and organizations and do more than just, show up for the meetings. Get active, get involved, stay engaged. Okay. And the last and final thing I have for my high school graduates is please learn the things that school won't teach you. I always say college, well, I won't say I always say college won't teach you everything, but experience will. Y'all, I had to learn this the hard way. I thought I was really following the plan, graduated from high school, going to college, checking all the boxes, doing all the things. Y'all, I don't know if I think I've shared, I don't know if I shared this story with you guys or not, but in undergrad, was set up as a pre-biology, or not, excuse me, as a biology major / pre-optometry. So my major was designed for me to be set up for optometry school. I got to my junior year, or the end of my second year, end of my sophomore year, realized I would have graduated with my bachelor's degree, but not have the classes that I needed to be able to go on to optometry school. Okay. Yeah, I think I have shared this story before. So I had to be an advocate for myself. I had to do the research for myself because I had started looking at optometry schools to see, when I needed to apply, all that kind of stuff, make sure I was meeting all the criteria. And as I started looking at these different schools and what they were requiring, there were 3 classes that I did not have. And that was not as part of my, what is it, like the curriculum, the career or major curriculum. I forget what it's called. But, they'll tell you need to have all these different classes in order to graduate with your bachelor's degree for your particular major. So I would have had all these classes, would have graduated with my degree, met the full requirements of my undergraduate school, and not have been able to go on to optometry school without having these 3 classes. And I say 3 classes because one was like a 101, it wasn't a 101, it's like a 201 class and a 202 class. So usually when it's a 201 class or a 202 class, there's classes you have to have before that in order to be able to take it. And the fact that it's a 201 and a 202 means that it's pretty much a year-long class. And I went to a small school, so they only offer it, once a year. Like the 201 is offered once a year, the 202 is offered once a year. So if you miss your opportunity or if you find out too late, you got to wait a whole year to be able, to do it and everything. And then the other class, it was another science class that was not offered regularly. So same thing, like they only offered it once a year. So if you missed your opportunity, you had to wait and see if they were even going to offer it again. So don't think that college is going to teach you everything. You need to be an advocate for yourself. If you know that, hey, I don't know, I want to be in social work or whatever, please find out, can you graduate with your bachelor's degree and go into social work, or do you need a master's degree? And make sure you have all the requirements necessary to get into graduate school for you to be able to get your master's degree in that particular area, okay? The schools are not going to teach you everything. They are there to collect your coin. They do care about you, but at the end of the day, it's a business, and they are there to collect your coin and keep their doors open and get more people coming through and give you a good and fun experience. And what you do after that, after you walk across that straight stage, or whether you walk across that stage or not, that's none of their business at that point. Okay. So be your own advocate. Advocate for yourself. Find out what you need, and don't expect school to teach you everything. All right. Don't expect school to teach you everything. And that's why I say you need to be constantly wanting to learn, wanting to grow, wanting to find out more. Don't think that what they've just given you is enough. Because just like I said at the top of the video, the quote from, I'm trying to find my quote, the quote from Carter G. Woodson: if you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his action. All right. So please don't let them control your thinking. All right. Let me see. Hold on. I see Still Rocks has a comment. So let me put this up on the screen really quickly. And then I'm going to finish off the things that college won't necessarily teach you. Still Rock says also whenever you go to the movie theaters, parks, get phone plans, music subscriptions, etc. Ask if they have student discounts. Yes, that is definitely a plus, y'all. I use my student, I use my student ID so long after I wasn't a student, just for that reason alone. They be like, we need to see your student ID. uh, Yep. Okay. See, Still Rocks. We on the same page. He said my college ID is super old, but I still use it when I go places. I don't have I don't have mine anymore. I don't know where mine is because it's been too long since I've been out of school. But I used it so long after I was out of school, y'all, just to get those discounts. So thank you, Still Rocks, for that and sharing that. But let me finish. What else? College won't teach you some things. So while you're in college, this is also your time to learn how to manage your money early. So skip all those credit cards that they're offering you, unless you know what you're doing. And chances are you don't know what you're doing. Okay. So skip all that. Learn to manage your money. Learn to manage your money early. If you make some mistakes, it's easier to recover now before you actually get into the real deal world and have real deal bills and stuff like that. Try not to mess it up. But if for some reason you do, there is still time for you to recover. Although some of us sometimes are still paying for those mess ups long into adulthood. Don't let that be you. So learn to manage your money early. Learn to manage your time as well. Because like I said, you're usually having a lot of free time and you need to know how to study and use your free time as well as be social, all that kind of stuff. All right. And please, please, please do not take out a loan just in order for you to get a refund check. All right. Please don't do that. You'll be so mad at yourself later. Trust me, it is nothing but a trap. It looks good now. You might need some money so y'all can go to Cancun or Tulum or something like. Don't get that don't get that refund check or take out that loan just to get the refund check. Okay, the interest on that is going to be paying dividends long after that trip or whatever it is, that outfit, those shoes, whatever you bought is over. Okay. So don't do that. Only take out the loans if you absolutely need it. All right. So that's all I had for my high school grads. Let me see how I'm looking on time. All right. So I'm going to quickly go through the ones for college because I only have two for, excuse me, not two. I have three that I'm going to be doing for college. All right. So now these tips are for my college graduates here. Welcome to the real world. Once again, now y'all about to be in the real deal world, my college graduates. All right. So adulthood, it does come with a plot twist, y'all. Adulting can be hard. And also I'm going to share a few little facts and statistics when it comes to college grad. So y'all, unfortunately, the unemployment rate for recent grads is at 5.8%, and this is the highest it's been since 2021. Also, about 40%, 41.2% of y'all are working jobs that don't even need a degree. So y'all are under what they call underemployed. All right. So it is definitely rough out here for the new graduates. All right. So unemployment rate is high. And even for those who are able to find employment, about 40% of y'all are underemployed, meaning you are working in jobs that don't even need a degree. So it's like, why did I go to school in the first place? All right. And then also the job offers are also down. So it used to be at 7.3%, a hiring increase in the amount of people being hired. Now has dipped down to less than 1%. It's at 0.6% is the hiring increase. All right. So things aren't looking too good, but still, y'all, still stay hopeful. But just know that college degree is not a golden ticket. And that is why I have said before that college isn't for everybody. And I really don't care. I won't say, I know it sounds bad. I really don't care if my kids go to college as long as they have a plan, because college is not the golden ticket that it used to be. Some of us spend years going to school, getting that 4-year degree, and then just to go into the workforce and not even be able to utilize it because you are employed at a position that doesn't even require a degree. So you could have spent those 4 years where you were accumulating debt or for longing going into the workforce, gaining some experience in the workforce. All right. So please take that in consideration. So, with that being said, here's what I want you to do. The first tip I have, because like I said, I ain't gonna just give y'all some bad news and not have a way out or some information that can be helpful. So, the first thing I want you to do is start career hunting before graduation. All right. The latest I would probably wait is like junior year, but you can start as early as possible, especially if you know exactly what you want to do. But I know sometimes first and second year students and college students, y'all don't really know, or you may not know, or you haven't quite figured it out. But definitely start you looking your junior year. Start looking at job ads. All right. I tell this to all the high school graduates, college graduates that I speak to. Start looking at job ads. So go on Indeed, go on LinkedIn, see what's out there, and see what kind of jobs they're offering, see what kind of positions are available, and then see what kind of skills those jobs are requiring. Also, here's another tip I want you to do when you start that career hunting and you're starting it early. Know the salaries, all right? No, but just don't know the salaries, because some of y'all be like, well, I can get $80,000, and it's like, yeah, you can get that out in rural somewhere, but here you ain't getting that, okay? In the city, you might not be getting that, or vice versa. So know the salaries, know the skills that are required, but know it per region. And know if you need to make money moves, because sometimes you will be looking at, or you'll look at information where they've gathered data and said, hey, the median salary for IT analysts is blah, 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 blah. And they pulled it from all these different places. You need to go specifically in your area. If you know, hey, I am going to be living in New Mexico, then start looking for jobs in New Mexico and not jobs in New York where the salary might be higher. All right. Don't do it. Start looking where you think you're going to be, and if you know even what city or the area that you're going to be, start looking in that general area and see what's the salary like. What are the job hours like? How many hours a day? Is it Monday through Friday? Are they saying that you have to do weekends, or 1 week in a month? Like, what does it look like? And look at it for the different regions as well, because you got to make sure you're comparing apples to apples and not apples to oranges or apples to pineapples. All right, because those are two different things. All right. So know the salaries, know the skills, know the different regions, know if you need to make money moves, because if you're expecting to get a certain salary in your area, but you see as you're looking through the job postings that is not, that's not the salary type for that area, you might need to look somewhere else and see, hey, can I make more money if I move to a different city or a different state? Okay. The other thing that I will say is research the cost of living. So as you start looking in these different regions, know what the cost of living is like. Because just like I said, if you're trying to look for a job in New Mexico versus New York, $50,000 in New Mexico or down south, like in Alabama, is a different $50,000 than what you can spend in New York City. All right. Or if they have that same job in Alabama, they're paying $50,000, but in New York, they're paying $70,000. You really need to make sure you're comparing the right thing. The reason why they're paying higher in New York is because the cost of living is higher in New York. All right. So you want to make sure your comparables are comparing, like the math. You got to make sure the math is mathing. All right. So just know that. And also with living in some of these areas, there are different expenses. Like in New York, not only is the cost of living higher, they got tolls on their roads. Like you got to pay to drive around the city. Oh, like where they do that at? You don't really have to do that a whole lot down south. Like we have a few little tolls here and there, but not how it is up north. Okay, they let us drive freely. We drive freely on our country roads. All right, but look at those things. Take those things into consideration. Also, if you're living somewhere like in New York, wear and tear on your car, or how you're going to get around, how you're going to navigate the city. Are you going to be using a bus or the subway, or if you're really driving? Like, you got to maintain your car. And those places, Like they have car inspections where you have to make sure it's being maintained, because if not, they know that if your car is not maintained, you stall on the road, or you cause these different problems. So take those things into consideration. So if you're the type of person where if your car break down or something going on with your car and you don't, as long as the car is drivable, you don't immediately fix it, then some of these areas you might not be able to live, because when they do their car inspections, your car is not going to pass inspection. All right. So just think of those different things when it comes to the cost of living, and know for different areas, $50,000 in one state may not equate to the same $50,000 in another state. And I use the example of like New York. Another example is like California. All right, your money is not going to stretch as far in these different areas. So don't just be jumping on or going to certain areas just because the salary is higher. All right, so the second thing I'm going to say for college graduates is make sure you are thinking long term. So make sure the career that you're looking into is built to last. Ask yourself, is this job going to be here in 5 years? You really want to ask that question. Is this job going to be here in 5 years? Especially if you're in your sophomore or junior year, because you don't want to be going to school and getting this degree only to find out that the job market for that is declining. And by the time you graduate, because sometimes hopefully you'll graduate in 4 years. Sometimes it takes a lot of us 5 years. So you don't want to be finding out that just as you're about to graduate, your job only has a 2-year life expectancy. Because what are you going to do after that? All right. So look at long term. Is this career built to last? So will this job still be here in 5 years? Will it still be here in 10 years as well? Or is it going to be replaced by AI? We really need to look into that, because AI and automation is out here snatching people's wigs and their wages. All right. So don't be fooled. Don't be tricked out of your money. Don't be tricked out of your position only because you didn't look at the long term to see, is your job going to still be here by the time you graduate? Because technology is moving almost like at the speed of light. Okay. Also look for growth potential when it comes to your different positions or the different career field that you are looking into going into, because you don't want to stay stagnant. Just for the check. Do not stay stagnant. So what's the growth plan? Because entry level, that's cute and all, but what is your 5-year goal? Or a better question is, what does it look like if I'm in this career for 5 years? What does the salary look like? What does the career path look like? What does the promotion structure look like? Like, am I going to be moved up in a certain position? And that goes back to what I was saying, start career hunting before graduation. All right. Because some of these jobs that you think you're going to, or I won't say think, some of these jobs that you may be interested in getting, if it says requires 3 to 5 years of job experience, then either you need to be doing some internships to start accumulating those 3 to 5 years of job experience, or you need to realize that in 3 to 5 years, you started this entry level job and you could possibly be promoted to this particular position because now you have 3 to 5 years of experience. And when you start looking at that, does that salary reflect the salary that you thought you would get from being in that position or in that career for 3 to 5 years? Does it reflect that? So this is what I say, look, start career hunting, start job hunting, start reverse engineering some of the stuff. And y'all, I know, especially if you're in college, hopefully, like I said, I'm speaking to college graduates. Hopefully, I don't want it to be overwhelming, but I really want y'all to start looking into this stuff so that you can set yourself up to succeed and not to fail. And you won't be disappointed or discouraged because you thought, hey, I thought I was going to be making 6 figures, in 3 years, only to find out like that position is getting you 75,000. You got to be in the position for 10 years and then you just start hitting 6 figures or something like that. So I just want you to be well aware. So think long term, look for the growth potential in your industry, but also look at what is it going to look like if I stayed in this particular position 5 years from now. Or also, I didn't mention this, what other skills do I need to gain? Like, am I going to have to acquire more certifications? Am I going to have to go back to school? Are they going to require me to have a certain amount of hours or be managing a certain amount of people? You know, you don't even like people like that. Like, look at what is going to be required for you to even move up in the company to see, is this the trajectory that you even want to go on, that you are seeing your career going in. Okay, start looking at that. And also look at, what is the ceiling, what is the highest point, and what do you need to be able to break through that. All right, and see if this is the ceiling, are you able to pivot? Are you able to transfer your skills into a different career field or a different industry? Also, here's another little tip. Instead of spilling the tea or talking about people when they leave a job, or, you know, Sally, she ain't there no more, or you remember John, he ain't there no more, you know, he done left or whatever. Start asking questions or reaching out to those people. This goes back to your community is currency, and find out where they pivoted to and why they pivoted. Okay, because maybe you heard now Sally over there working for Pepsi Cola. Okay, what is she doing over there? I didn't even know we could do that. See what skills are transferable. See what skills she might have had to make her transferable to go over there, instead of talking about how she left and now you fighting for her position, or, you know, trying to get the position or whatever. So see what else you can do, and take notice of stuff, and not just take notice to be messy or gossip or spill the tea, but take notice to see, hey, what would this look like for me if I were to decide to leave the company? How can I parlay that into something that is going to be beneficial for me? All right. I always say I learn from everything. I use everything as a learning experience. I'm always taking notes to try and see what I can glean, what I can gain from different experiences, as well as other people's experiences that could potentially benefit me, which brings me to my last and final point for college graduates, is to never stop learning, like ever. Like ever, ever, ever. Okay. So keep learning forever. All right. Be a lifelong learner. Read articles, take free courses, you know, YouTube University, especially if y'all checking out. Shout out to all my gold diggers on YouTube. If you're checking me out on YouTube, look into certification programs, but always, always, always stay learning. I mentioned before, industry trends, they change fast, even faster now that AI is available. So you have to stay ahead of the curve. All right. So stay ahead of the curve. Don't get behind on the basics. See what is trending, see what is coming up, see what's coming next. Like, I try to stay on top of different, I won't say different industries. I listen to see what's going on in other industries and see, how does that apply to me? So other healthcare fields, I listen to that. How are they doing this? How are they incorporating that? Oh, now they've gone virtual. Can this potentially affect me? How is that going to look? How were they able to implement, you know, virtual or whatever it is into their particular practice, into their particular career field? How would that look like if it was implemented into mine? What obstacles, what may we encounter? How could we be successful in these areas? So I'm looking at these different things to see, how is it going to potentially affect me long term, because I'm not just saying, oh, look what they started doing, or look what happened to them, or look how this particular industry is transforming. I'm looking at, okay, well, if they transform, how much longer would it be for us to transform, or what is it going to take for us to transform, or how can we incorporate that? And that goes with things that could be perceived as good, as well as things that could be perceived as bad, because all change is not, you know, bad change or anything like that. But start looking, start being more observant, be curious like a child. You ever hung around like a young child that's like 3 years old, 4 years old, and all they do is ask you questions, and every time you give them an answer, they be like, why and you be like, because so and so and so. But why? That's how you need to be. You need to be like a little child, constantly learning and trying to figure out why. Why is this happening? And trying to figure out how it could potentially affect you. Also, cross train, stay flexible. So if you need to pivot into a new position or into a new promotion, you will have the skills and the training available. So don't just stay stuck and stagnant saying, well, I ain't trying to learn all that, or I don't need to do all of that for my particular position. Be willing to learn. Now, I'm not saying let people take advantage of you. So if you obtain certain skills and you're starting to utilize those skills and the skills are starting to benefit your particular company or your particular employer, then please ask for a raise, ask for a promotion or something like that. I'm not saying let them take advantage of you, but like I say, leverage the heck out of it. If they want to teach you something, let them teach you, okay? Because if push comes to shove, if they say no, they're not going to pay you more, or they say they're not going to promote you, and you've acquired these skills and you've utilized these skills and you've executed on those skills very well, then you can take your talents elsewhere, all right? And that in itself is leverage also. So let the people teach you. Let the people take you to school so you get certifications. Let them. Don't just say, well, I ain't trying to learn all this because then they're going to have me doing this and that or whatever. That's how growth happens, okay? And hopefully, just like your skills grow, your paycheck should also fall in line as well, or your position should also fall in line as well. And if not, you might want to pivot to a different area, okay? And I always say to my high school students as well as my college students, ask people in your field, if you knew then what you know now, how else could you use this degree? Like, what other career field could you use this degree in? What other career field would these skills be transferable in? Ask people that. All right. All right. So, y'all, I'm about to wrap it up and make sure I don't have any other comments. Yes, I'm sorry, Still Rocks. I'm just seeing your comment. He says, young adults, please ask tons of questions. Some I speak with feel like they are bothering people or just shy away. You have to speak up. If you need help, please speak up. Most people are willing to help. Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, and you're not bothering people. And even if they do see you as a bother, one thing you want to be known as, be memorable. Let people remember you. And people value, I know I value people who ask questions. Now, I know they say don't ask, there's no such thing as a stupid question. But don't be asking questions that you could ask Google about, okay? I always say try and ask an applied question. Show people your thought process so they can understand where you're coming from. Like, hey, I was considering this and I weighed these different options, but now I'm not sure where to go. What would you suggest I would do for this? All right. Don't just be like, hey, what would you do? All right. Give people your thought process. That helps you ask a more informed question, and it doesn't just come off as you didn't do your homework, you didn't do your research and stuff like that. Because like I said, I know they said there's no such thing as a stupid question, but sometimes I know I don't like when people ask questions where I feel like they should already know the answer. So if it is a question where people might be like, you should already know the answer to that, before you ask the question, just show them your thought process with it. Like, hey, I know this is what it's supposed to be, but I was considering this, or I was thinking about this, just so they can kind of see why you might still have that question or whatever. Or like I said, or they can see the research that you've already done or the things that you possibly looked into before you come to them asking the question. Okay. So I get that. And I see that too, even from my YouTube channel. I see people ask questions, and I'm not saying they should already know the answer, but some of the questions that they ask, it tells me you didn't do your homework. All right. So if you're at least do your homework a little bit. All right. But anyway, I have a few little things that I want to share with you guys, and then we are wrapping it up. So please, private equity firms, I know in my industry, they are taking over, and it's taking over in other industries. These firms are looking for, and they are snatching up some of the top grads years in advance. So if you're waiting to your senior year to get yourself prepped and ready, you're already behind the curve. And like I said, I don't want this to feel overwhelming, but y'all, You have to know what you're up against. You have to know what this workforce is. And I'm still going to default back to Carter G. Woodson's quote. Let me find it again, y'all. Carter G. Woodson's quote: if you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his action. All right. So you gotta, times are too hard right now. And the stakes are too high for you to be doing bare minimum or the basics. You're going to have to put in a little extra effort to make it in this workforce, to make it in this world today with the way things are trying to be dismantled. Okay. You just have to. So you can't wait. We don't have that luxury. We don't have, and I apologize. I apologize that you don't have that luxury, but we literally do not have the luxury to wait until your senior year or your graduation year to try and figure stuff out. Because some of these companies are looking at people ahead of time. Some of these companies are looking at the skills that people have already developed their freshman year, over the summer, or over their sophomore year, over the summer. And you have to start preparing yourself just like these other people have prepared. Okay. And some of them, if I'm being honest, they ain't prepared. They just knew certain people, or their parents knew certain people. And now they got them a connection, or they got them an internship, or they got them an opportunity. And a lot of us do not have that luxury. So we got to make sure we're doing our part, and we got to make sure we are staying ahead of the curve and not settling for crumbs and not settling for the basics. And that is even of ourselves. Okay. So private equity firms, they're snatching up new grads. So the competition is fierce. Okay. So be mindful of that. Always do your best. Always try to excel at whatever you're doing. Always try to stand out. But also something else you can start doing is, since the competition is so fierce, a lot of grads are starting to look at smaller companies for more personalized growth. Since they are smaller, they don't get lost in the sauce. Okay. And also, the New York Post says the best cities for new grads include Austin, Raleigh, and Atlanta, because these places are affordable and they have good job opportunities. Okay. So last but not least, and I know I am going over time, but I feel this is very, very important that I say this, especially during this time. All right. So let's just talk about the elephant that is in the room or in the classroom. Okay. Our education system is literally in a chokehold. And I am not just talking about these budget cuts that they're talking about, or how they're trying to roll back funding or anything like that. They are trying to attack Black brilliance. Okay. They are trying to attack Black minds. All right. So they're banning the Black books, minority books. They're canceling the DEI programs. They're taking funding from different colleges, and these colleges are the colleges that serve us. All right. Because, like I've been saying all night, Carter G. Woodson said, if they can control the mind, then they can control your moves. Okay. They can control your actions. All right. So when you go and you get that degree, when you go and you get that education, don't just collect that paper. Okay. Start collecting some consciousness. All right. Stay conscious about what's going on, because the things that they are doing, it is not random. It is not random at all. I cannot emphasize this enough. It is not random. This is strategic, and it's strategic suppression of the education of Black and brown people. All right. It is strategic. So if they can control what you learn, they can control how you live. And when I say that, because they control what you learn, they control some of the how the opportunities you get, that controls the jobs that you have, the money that you can make, the places that you can live in, because you how affordable it is for you. Okay. So nothing about what they're doing with these different rollbacks of DEI, with these different reducing of funding, and how they're taking these different books out of the classroom. It is all strategic. So we have to stay woke. I know that they're even attacking that. We have to stay conscious about the things that they are doing. So I encourage you, build your own library of books that are not the books that they're banning, the books that can definitely educate you. Start supporting different policies and programs that protect equitable education for all. Stay engaged in the different policies. Please don't get bogged down though in the partisanship associated with this, but stay engaged in the different policies that are going on. Use your voice, use your vote, and use your vision to affect change. Change can happen, guys. All right. And please don't be neutral about your future. Please don't be neutral about your future. Please stay educated, stay empowered, and stay active. All right. So I know that was a lot, y'all, and I went over. I would love to hear your best advice or your worst advice that you got after graduation. Please share it in the comment section. Shout out to Still Rocks for giving us some of his tips and some of his advice that he shared. And I'm going to close with this. This is just a little message for my graduates. I hope that your minds will stay sharp, that your grind will stay strong, and that your heart will be bold. And don't just show up. When you show up, I want you to take up space, baby. All right. I want you to walk in purpose and keep your spirit unshaken, even when the world tries to shake your confidence. All right. So whether it's in a classroom, a boardroom, or even your own living room, you have power. You have purpose, and baby, you got next. So congratulations to all the graduates. Shout out to y'all. Y'all are going to do some powerful and some amazing things. So I'm interested in hearing, or I'm interested in seeing what these future graduates have in store for us, because the future really is bright. If we stay active, we stay engaged, and stay woke, stay conscious. Know that Black brilliance, Black excellence, Black education is under attack, but we are still going to thrive. We are still going to survive, and we're going to still stay educated. All right. And last thing, I'm going to close it out just like I started it. Remember what Carter G. Woodson said. And if you don't know who Carter G. Woodson is, he is the father of Black History Month. He created Black Negro History Week. If you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his action. So my question for you, should they be worried about your actions? Because are they controlling your thinking? All right, that's all I have for now. Thank you so much for joining. Take care. Please share this with a graduate so that they can get these tips. It would mean the world to me. And please hit the like button if you've enjoyed this, and subscribe to my channel. All right, take care, guys.